Hey, what's up everyone? We are going to do some raids here, and I always talk about focusing on one or the other side, but it does help if you don't come across bases that have good loot and good metals roughly at the same time. So this isn't really that good of metals, but you're still going to get something. 200 is not that bad. If you can 100% 200 metals every time, that'll definitely place you high up in the rankings. So we are going to look at bases this time that have a good amount of metals and a good amount of loot. So we're kind of doing both of those things at once. We're not going to be as effective if we were just farming one of the other. So if we were just looking for gold, we wouldn't be caring about metals at all. We can find some better gold bases. And the same thing, if we were just looking for metals and we didn't care about gold, we could find a lot higher metal bases like 500 or 600. We do have elite boosted cannons here, if you may notice. Very, very dangerous setup right there. He has, I believe, 8 towers or 7 towers in that corner. Most of his DPS is right in that side. And you can see we could avoid most of the snake tower damage. We went up there and took out one little section with a sonic blast. Took a little bit of snake damage, not too much. And same thing over here. We're going to go over and just take a little bit of snake poison damage. Sonic blast, take out all those. And this one shouldn't be too difficult to go and beat. Again, just in general, it was only a 200 metal base, so if you shouldn't have any trouble at all with 200 metal bases. Occasionally, you probably will die here and there if you are really, really lackadaisic and just like and you make terrible mistakes, because it happens. I mean, if you rush into carelessly and you don't see the gargoyles coming your way, or don't see the whole big swarm of our blasters that are shooting you, or you sit and take too much poison damage, you can die. But for the most part, a 200 metal base you should easily be able to beat almost always. So we're going to look for bases that are over like 200 and over about 300 or so in metals. And so that way we're getting the best of both worlds. We're getting a decent amount of loot and then a high amount of metals, roughly. Again, it's not as effective as farming one specific type, just farming metals or just farming loot. But this is a good example. This is a base that has both. It has a good amount of loot and a decent amount of metals. So we're going to go ahead and take that one out. And just because I use the same kind of attacking strategy for the most part, always like the cannons, the mummy, and the archers, doesn't necessarily mean that this is the only attacking strategy that works. This is my favorite attacking strategy. This is what I love to use. This is what I have leveled up. If you level up different spells or different troops, you can attack in different ways. Unfortunately, those won't work out with me because I don't have those spells or troops leveled up. A lot of players like our blasters. Our blasters are good, they just cost a lot of morale points. They have longer range than the archers, so you're going to do a little bit more damage with their range. They also have more HP. Again, just the downside is that they cost so much more morale points. And what I use my archers mainly for is to take care of the monsters, and then also as slight little diversion distractions for gargoyles. So the gargoyles, they go and jump the pathways, jump the choke points, and they attack any unit that they kind of see over there. So right here, if they were to see these 3 archers, that gargoyle swarm would just jump over that barricade, or jump over this choke point, and they would blow up on those 3 archers, not really costing me anything and blowing up the guy's gargoyles. So it kind of wastes his gargoyles, because he would just be attacking some weak little archers that don't really do much. If he attacked 3 our blasters, that means he would be blowing up 12 morale points rather than only 6. So the R blasters, they cost more, they're more expensive to use, and if you can't really just kind of like sacrifice them without thinking about the repercussions, because every morale point does add up over time. You can see we have a huge army of cannons, and that's because we have a lot of morale points. We're not spending that many morale points on archers. We summoned out one maybe mummy in here, so we were able to use a lot more morale points on the cannons. And of course, as you level up and you get more leadership on your hero gear and just leveling up normally, you're going to get more morale points, building up faster, so you'll be able to use our blasters more effectively as you level up. But personally, I love the archers in the lower levels, and we're level 80, and anything below, I love archers because they're so cheap, they're so cost effective. Again, you can use them as diversions, you can use them as human shields. But you have to get familiar with the archers to use them effectively. So it's all personal preference. You can really use a lot of different attacking combinations. And especially now with elite boost too. If your alliance is elite boosting like knights, you might want to try using knights in action. Elite boosted knight is really strong. They have a lot of life. You might want to combo that with like a shield or a heal spell to keep them alive longer. But just on their own, they still have a ton of life, because the elite boost, they add a lot of extra damage and a lot of extra life. So a thing there too is if you are in an alliance that likes to use like knights and you don't like to use knights at all, you might want to try and find another alliance that is more suited to what units you like to use. So if you are looking for like an alliance that uses cannons, you might want to go and search the forums or search Facebook for an alliance that, you know, constantly uses elite boost on the cannons versus the knights. Or conversely, if you want to use knights, you might want to jump out of that alliance that's using cannons and then go find one that uses knights and has those guys always elite boosted. So this is similar. The guy has a huge death box over here. I'm going to move up just a little bit and bring out a mummy. Trying to stay away from the bombs, because the bombs do a little bit of splash damage. So the bombs do a little bit of splash damage, and you don't want to be near them at all, because they can hurt. They can hurt quite a bit. This is what I'm talking about. We are low on HP, and we might end up dying. And we did. We did! Damn, phone call killed us.